Alrighty, here we go. So you had just asked me what matchups I'm hoping to see. I'm just hoping to see Pooky get broken out.
Well,
'Cause-
first matchup is Taisei versus Vega, which is actually what I was hoping for, so I'm pretty happy.
Oh, this matchup is intense. I remember playing this in one of the weeklies. It's good times. Alright, let me switch over so the audience can see. Oh man, so Luxuria is running Team Icy Dead People, and Petersonian is running, what, Team Range 4 Mix-Up, I guess?
Well, the action of his team is to play the characters that he thought would not be represented in the tournament.
Ah, I see.
Um, Vega is his actual personal pick, which is probably why he led with him. This is the character he likes the most out of his team.
That makes
But
perfect sense.
he was practicing with Luciya earlier today, and his Luciya seems pretty good.
Luciya is solid. I also think she's just super fun. I actually think both Luciya and Pooky are really just delightful characters with how much they bounce around the board. I know Vega can do that, but I'm bad at him, so, it doesn't count. Um,
Vega is a very interesting beast. I'm really excited to see Petersonian's Vega play, since everyone seems to have a slightly different style with him.
mhm. Looks like they're setting up his references.
Vega's reference, you just think of dive, but then you add a couple points of power
Or speed.
and or speed.
Yeah. I guess and/or if he's at the corner, yeah. So they're more like spikes, but they're also shaped like dive. Just your classic everyday dive spike for maybe 9 damage. Good old Vega. Oh my gosh, this boy has stats. That said, he's up against one of the toughest stat monsters in the game. It's with Taisei, um, who will definitely be fixing his starting life at some point, because otherwise this game is already over.
Yeah, if Taisei had 30 life, I think he would actually be completely unstoppable.
I entirely agree with this. That looks like a turn 1 strike. I think they already mulligans. So Taisei striking on turn 1 instead of boosting in any way is a very interesting play, and it suggests that we're going to see a pretty unorthodox Taisei. Typically, Taisei will play defensively the first turn, and then aggressively until he is about to exceed. Is
I
my
find turn 1 strike pretty interesting because
oof.
Ashen Claws loses to Rolling Crystal Flash.
Oh.
This is really good for Vega, as he will stuff the Ashen Claws, denying that transform,
Yep.
and will get Gauge, which for Vega is really valuable. Taisei
Yep.
resets his life and takes the 3 damage. Exciting stuff.
Oof. That also passes the turn to Vega. Um, that is a deeply unfortunate opening. So that deprives Taisei of one of his transformations. He could land the other at some point, for sure, but he needs to get a few transformations into play before his life drops to 0, or he will not earn his extra life. He could also kill Vega before then. Um, he may look fragile, but Taisei can throw out some immense power. Unfortunately, being in a position to trade with Taisei is very, very comfortable. Um, and Vega, as a Street Fighter character, is equipped with more boosts than Taisei. Speaking of boosts, here we have one of the best special boosts in the game.
Good old Grave Ambitions. Vega traditionally is not as aggressive as some other SF characters are built, but Vega can make a lot work with just one gauge. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that gives him
we
Scarlet Terror, I believe, on the critical, is the primary threat.
an above curve 1 to 4 card, which is very helpful for stuffing, especially a character like Taisei before he gets Dust to Dust live.
Oh, we have a parry. Probably on Chaos Scissors. Oh, no. That's a whiff.
Mm, parrying Dust to Dust instead.
Ah,
Well,
okay. That's fair.
unfortunately, Chaos Scissors was the correct choice, and he will get Dust to Dust next turn if he so chooses. But he will be open to reading then, which
That's
does
true.
make the choice interesting at least.
Yep. Typically, if you parry against Taisei, you either name Chaos Scissors because of the boost, which lets him transform a card from his hand or deck, letting him get set up very, very quickly. Or you parry Dust to Dust because that's the card that he wants to transform as soon as possible. So if you don't think he has Scissors, you parry Dust to Dust so that he can't threaten to land the attack. Which, because Grave Ambitions is in play, Dust to Dust is very reliable, so this makes perfect sense. Let's see. There's Dust to Dust.
That hand does still have some known normals in it, so if there is a reading in that hand, he can opt to punish the Assault or Grasp, probably Assault since it's easier to stuff, with Dust to Dust and Grave Ambitions up.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking for a moment, they're at range 3, you should reading Grasp, obviously, but, no. No, don't do that. You have to have something speed 5 or faster, which means he probably wouldn't be throwing a special if he needed to stuff it.
That is very true. He probably does not want to have that hit gain 2 life go off right now. It would be unpleasant, to say the least.
And if Taisei lands a hit, he's going to get a gauge, which with that 1 transform, 1 gauge, which is a lot closer to being able to flip than anybody wants to see Taisei.
That is 100% true.
Oh, I didn't put the characters up on the screen. Let's see. I mean, they can see them, but still. Taisei
I think ideal, which is unlikely because it probably would have been played by now, would be to reading, naming Assault, and then play an Assault of his own. Gaining advantage is pretty solid.
There's a nominal chance that he could get stuffed by the EX Assault, since Taisei could have drawn the second copy.
That is very true.
But it's probably a risk we're taking. Oh, here we go.
He does have the reading, that's good. And...
He forgot about Grave Ambitions. Yep, the only reason to do that is he forgot about Grave Ambitions. That'll be very costly.
That will, I don't remember if Vega cares, but I'm just gonna...
Oh yeah, the focus will have dropped to discard before the dive. I assume is what you're pointing out. Vega does not care. It's just good practice to keep your discards in the right order as any character. Oof. And as y'all might have seen, Taisei spent 2 life on that, so he did 2 extra damage.
Yep.
Alright, we have Anathema Surge, which will trade very well into focus. It has hit gain 2 life, and then after +3 armor, meaning Taisei will be up 1 life.
Indeed he will. The focus is not too terrible, even though it trades. Taisei is guaranteed his flip now, which is unfortunate, but Vega is, building up that gauge. Theoretically, if he has the other Rolling Crystal Flash, he could take corner and... Oh,
there it is.
Corner and get that 3rd gauge.
Oh, that's a huge deal. So he's out Rolling Crystal Flashes, which is actually also very important, because that is one of his huge range mix-up cards. But he has corner, and he could exceed at any time. Now, do you think he should wait for a 4th gauge, or do you actually think he should just save the 3 and threaten an Ultra here?
I think right now it's better to threaten the Ultras. None of them have dropped, and the EX 6-speed one is incredibly good in this board position.
Does that one have the reposition that lets him take the opposite corner?
It has after move to any space. It's basically cross, except it does 1,000,000 damage and is the safest move in the universe.
That is incredibly safe, and the only way Taisei stuffs that is with EX cross, I believe, right?
Yes, because it is 6-speed.
Yep, so that is a very real threat right now. Looks like Taisei is spinning life. There it is!
The 6-speed ult!
Holy crap! Alright.
Corner plus the +3 power bonus, that is 9 damage into 2 armor.
Flips Taisei. Holy crap. Alright. Taisei spins that gauge, resets to 10 life, and is stunned. It would actually be very possible for Taisei to flip and not be stunned. Now, Vega moves up to 8. Yeah, so any space, basically, and apparently is deciding to stand still. So
that says something about his hand, but honestly...
Yeah, that's
probably fine.
That suggests to me that he doesn't have Barcelona. He probably has normals, maybe Pounce.
He flips to the other side. That's actually probably pretty good into Taisei, because Taisei is fairly low mobility. And
at range 6, Taisei has literally nothing to threaten, which means that light is almost definitely a mistake.
That is a very ballsy light, but let's see if it pays off.
On the flip side, this does mean that if Vega tries to throw Barcelona, Taisei could beat it with... Yep. So Poor Man's Tech will work out very well for Vega. He was striking to get rid of that light, and it is quite effective. Taisei takes a move action. He now has 2 standing armor. They don't appear to be using counters to track that, so just making a note of it. For those unsure of why that is, the transformation on Dust to Dust means whenever Taisei spends life, he gains armor until the end of the next strike.
Looks like a CC4. That is probably correct with that hand. I don't love giving up Splendid Claw, but We take those.
Yeah, gotta kill somebody. As for how Taisei is spending life to move, that is his Exceed ability, and he's doing it now for the Change Cards action as well, so he has 4 standing armor. And he also qualifies for the transformation on Dust to Dust. So his Exceed ability lets him spend life to generate Force or Gauge at 1 for 1 or 2 for 1. And then Edge of Death is if you have 6 or less life, +1 power, or if you're in Exceed mode, +1 power, +1 speed. This gives him a very important stat advantage here, especially because Vega has dropped both Rolling Crystal Flashes. Taisei can be above curve, and Vega only has, what's it called? Scarlet Terror?
Yes, Scarlet Terror. That is the one that has critical +2 speed on it. Interestingly, Vega opts to uncorner himself and move to range 2. Let's see what he does into Taisei's 4 armor.
4 armor, +1 power, +1 speed. This is extremely threatening. I'm surprised Vega moved to range 2. Normally, losing the speed tie there. And gonna take a tidy 5 damage. Alright, that said, that armor is now gone. So it's possible Vega... Okay. Well, belay that. Taisei now has boosted for +3 armor. So, it's going to be tough for Vega to throw enough damage to kill him, especially if he doesn't back up to the wall. That said, that is the second copy of Black Bolt.
That Vega got rid of a Flying Barcelona attack, because the boost on that is very valuable, especially against a character like Taisei, who pretty much can't not chase.
I'd agree. Taisei boosts for speed, so he doesn't have a true range 1 spike, but Chaos Scissors will do in a pinch, because that thing can hit for 9. And turns out when you have 9 damage, you're effectively ignoring guard.
Yep. Ooh, Retrieve. That is a pretty good play here. He will probably grab... I'm not sure exactly what's in his discard, but... Ooh.
Well? Oh, that was an accidental deal instead of shuffle. Or, sorry, instead of search.
D, your chat is not up on stream, by the way.
Oh, I'll worry about that later.
Fair. We are in the middle of a pretty fast game, so...
I'm
not exactly sure what's in his... Oh, grabs the mask. That is an interesting play, but I can definitely see that working out fairly well for him.
Yeah, power and armor. Taisei can't gain extra power willy-nilly. He has to rely on his Edge of Death now, which is only +1. So this armor essentially negates that, giving Vega the ability to be defensive. Retrieve needs to leave play.
Yeah, I'm just reminding. Taisei strikes... We haven't seen any pounces drop, right? Pounce could be pretty good here.
Pounce would be great.
On
although
if he calls that is or is not spike.
I was about to say, they're at range 3, and I don't think we've seen any spikes drop on Vegas. I'm sorry, on Taisei's side, but we have seen at least 1 assault. So
that is a 6-speed spike. That's pretty free.
6-speed
there's
spike.
not really a good way for Vega to answer that either.
Nope. EX critical Scarlet Terror is about the only thing that does anything there, right? And it would only deal 1 damage.
Yes.
So 2 damage, excuse me. I forgot he had Mask in play. And without the EX, he gets stuffed. So if that's the case and he calls the spike, he should just Wild Swing, right?
Yep, there's pretty much nothing you do. You just kind of have to eat it.
Which fortunately would mean that... So the good news is that would mean light drops. One way or another, light is dropping. Bad news is Black Bolt is probably going to return to hands. And that is a very threatening attack, because it is a 1-3 ignore guard.
From this position, Vega can use Dancer Step to take the corner and strike, which could be very useful on his next turn. So losing this strike isn't completely painful.
Yeah, and might well cut his life in half, but if he has Dancer Step available to him, or if he can get Claw into play, or, both in some order, he can still threaten to close this game out.
Card from hand, it's across.
It's
Unfortunately, that speed ties, and loses to the spike, but... Sometimes you just gotta take it.
Yep. Alright, well, honestly, only taking 6 against an Exceed Taisei, you can do worse.
Indeed you could.
Alright, that also means turn will pass to Vega.
Hopefully he has something available to him to fix his positioning, because right now this is kind of awkward for Vega.
Yeah, well he does, because manifestly there is an Ultra in his gauge. That is worth 2 force, and he could just take a move action, preserving any options he has in hands.
Ooh. Boost light?
Aww.
Light? Boost
Boost
life.
life.
Explain.
This is a familiar volley.
That explains why the... Oh, boost backstep, that makes sense.
There we go. Yeah, I see that exchange happen a lot, especially with regard to Season 2 characters, because Season 2 characters don't have a lot of boosts in their specials, because they need to make room for transformations. So they are very reliant on normal boosts for their boost games, which means light tech, light tech is a very common volley. Or light tech, one of those. So Taisei can... Wait, hold on. Is Tears free here?
Yes.
That's dangerous. We've seen 0
Taisei
copies of
preps?
Nightmare Tears drop.
Vega
I
preps.
wonder if Vega knows how much danger he's in. Oh, and Tears is no longer free. There is the Before Close 3 boost, Grave Ambition, 2nd copy.
That is really funny into Vega, isn't it?
It's interesting. So what he's threatening to do is break the speed curve, because Before Close 3 gives him effective range in his attacks, and Vega, without rolling Crystal Flash, can no longer do the same. However, in this specific part of the game, I think moving in close is actually helpful for Vega, because it brings Scarlet Terror back online. Right now, Vega needs either Claw or just to get ready to take a hit, but the telegraph here is Black Bolts, since nothing beats it. It's speed 5, range 1 to 6, and gains 2 life. So that's the canonical Taisei setup. So seeing that telegraph, I think Vega hunts for... No, both blocks are down, actually. So I think Vega would invest in armor, just be ready to take that hit, or build up some cards and try to win the next strike after. Or
Repel Leap.
Repel Leap could happen. Alright.
Very exciting stuff.
So if you're at the edge of the arena, move to any space and strike, and he gains +2 power during the strike because he started at the edge of the arena. That is a critical strike from the opposite edge. Oh my. With that Before Close, this could be the Pounce, which would actually still lose to Black Bolts, but he is threatening the fast-slow mix-up. He basically has the sweep shape of Pounce, which would have 2 armor, 4 guard, 7 power. He has the spike shape of... Shoot, what's it called? 143?
Sky High? Yeah, Sky High Claw.
Sky High Claw? Cool. Which is only 3 speed, has no defenses, but would deal 8, if I recall. And then he has the fast option of the other copy of Scarlet Terror. Not to mention, every single normal attack makes a mix-up here. Ooh, that looks like an EX response. Attack. Well, we know it's not Chaos Scissors. Oh, nice! That is a 7 power dive, over 3 armor, dealing 4 damage, dropping Taisei to 2 life. Taisei gets no value out of that out of that boost.
The crit should drop.
Yeah. 7 power, 3 armor is 4 damage, right?
He is showing Repel Leap to explain why he is getting +2 power off of that dive. I was expecting Critical Spike, but Critical Dive is value too.
That was great. Yep. It puts him at close range, so once again, we have not seen a single copy of Pounce drop as far as I recall. And it's not actually safe, but it's pretty good. Oh my. Speaking of things that aren't safe, here is False Life. Vega has +4 power. Taisei gains 4 life and draws 2 cards. He then needs to draw for end of turn. I'm not sure if he did.
I'm not 100% sure either. I'm going to assume he did.
Yeah, he's at 7, so he probably did the math. Alright. So, customarily... Oh, no, there's the end of turn draw. Yeah, that's pretty fair, actually. Customarily, you use False Life on front side to buy more time to use your front side character ability as Taisei. using it Exceed mode is pretty rare. It does telegraph he has the other Nightmare Tears available. And in fact, if he didn't, he probably does now, because he's got 3 cards in deck and 7 in hands. So he can use it to take a hit, and is just trying to buy himself some time. For those not familiar, Nightmare Tears has a very important clause in it. It says your life cannot drop below 1. Meaning, as long as you're able to afford playing this, you guarantee that you stay alive for 1 more turn. I'll zoom in on that a bit more.
What speed 7 options has Taisei dropped? Do you know off the top of your head?
If I recall correctly, he has 1 copy of Dust to Dust available and 1 copy of Grasp available. I could be mistaken, but that's off the top of my head.
I'm trying to evaluate what would be best into this, because even if he plays the tears, you know, you can get him to 1, and he likely will not be hitting with the tears, so getting him to 1 is still value.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. It wouldn't get him to 1, right? Because he would have... Oh, no, never mind. It would it would get him to exactly 1, because he would have 6 armor. But you would have at least 7 power, so... Taisei could also do something hilariously cheeky at this stage. He could try to run a... He still has a Chaos Scissors available, actually, and Chaos Scissors is unironically a good attack.
Good old Chaos Scissors.
Yep. Though both focuses have dropped, right? And
indeed they have.
At least 1 light has. I don't remember if the other sweep is available or not, but if the other sweep is not available, this is a perfectly reasonable time for Vega to just throw out our Grasp.
It looks like Luxuria is counting... It looks like both players are counting cards right now.
Sensible.
Kind of a do-or-die turn right here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I'm the Vega player, I probably CC into that deck to dig for some answers. Or I should say to dig for some questions. Oops.
Oh, no.
Well, neither of these characters care about Discord Order, so...
That is true.
Give an accidental discard shuffle. That's also just a state that's not really recoverable. Tabletop Simulator does have a rewind function, but if anybody has tried to use it, you know why most people try not to use it. It reloads the entire module, and it's very slow. Even on more lightweight modules than this one, and this is admittedly not a lightweight module.
Big CC.
There we go. Not sure if I would have given up the last gauge as critical, but I can agree with the CC. Oh, it looks like he's revealing his remaining options. Yep, there you go. Both pounces. Other copy of Bloody High Claw. 1 Spike, and then Scarlet Terror and Flying Barcelona.
With no readings available, revealing this hand is pretty solid.
I tend to agree.
Claw is pretty good if he gets another turn to boost it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like spinning that last gauge was a mistake, because he now cannot threaten critical EX Pounce. Which, you know, beats the planet. Oh, we have a wild swing.
You have the high-low there of yes!
Oh!
Wait.
Oh.
Taisei's dead.
Yep, that's it. That's the game.
No. Okay, well, it's...
I mean, he's dead either way.
I would have been... Oh, man, I wish he survived and hit himself for lethal.
Yeah, so the other way to handle this, for those wondering, is Taisei could have chosen to spin 4 life to gain 4 armor. And... Oh, no, hold on. He'd still be dead. That's 7 power over 4 armor. There's no way Taisei gets to hit himself.
Man, how sad.
But if Taisei's alive when Chaos Scissors goes off, he has a hit effect, which can cause him to kill himself anyway. I have done this. I don't recommend it, but it's really funny. I made a slight mistake.
9.
That is just the wild swing you need.
Glorious, 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 glorious time.
Yep. I mean, Grasp was absolutely the play. He just had to get it. Alright, let me update that display.
I always love seeing Vega played. I personally am a big fan of Exceed Vega, but just going for that 6-speed when he did was probably correct, since it just murdered everything.
Whoops. I updated the name instead of the status.
Any
man.
bets? Oh, it looks like they're going right into match 2, Beheaded versus Luciya, it looks like.
I'm a little too zoomed in, I think. Yeah, looks that way.
I don't really have enough experience with either character to really say anything solid about this matchup going into it.
This is interesting. I actually favor Beheaded here. If the Beheaded player has played against Luciya, because knowing how to
the classic 7th cross.
yes, the canonical 7th cross caveat is if the opponent has any matchup experience, you can have a good matchup here, and that's mainly because of tactics. The card called tactics. So your specials and ultras have plus 0 to 1 range. Gives Beheaded that's basically turns Beheaded into an all ranger, which I already kind of describe him as an all ranger, but he becomes much stronger in the mid ranges where Luciya is mediocre. Like 2 to 3 in particular are not great ranges for Luciya. 2 is, in my opinion, her least favorite range. And with tactics up, everything.
Classic.
Yes. With tactics up, everything threatens it too, and it's pretty terrifying for her because she will not win a damage race if she lets him land hits. That said, Luciya is highly evasive and very tricky. So if the Luciya player plays to those strengths as an answer character, then she may be able to deprive Beheaded of enough gauge to use his character ability. Well, okay, not his character ability per se, since he doesn't have a character ability. But, deny him from getting gauge so that he can't exceed. Once he exceeds, he starts building up those levels, gaining those extra traits, and things start looking real bad. Let me put this matchup on the screen.
Beheaded opens with a prep. Presumably didn't draw a block or something to get some guaranteed gauge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Beheaded normally, normally he can throw something like Dive Attack or Marksman Bow, Infantry Bow, whatever it was called. It's one of the items in the game. But against Luciya, nothing is guaranteed, because you throw Dive Attack, which is speed 5 from starting positions, and she can play Downburst and stuff it. And if you play your bow, which is range 2 to 5, speed 4, she can play Firefly Gunner, and you eat 6 damage and are sad, go home and cry.
Interesting and mildly rude play from Beheaded, boosting Wolf Trap but dumping Spike. Canonically, when you play a cannot move, the play after that is to play a Spike.
I would argue it's to play a dive, since the opponent can initiate with a spike to cover your spike, but dive is basically unbeatable from the state.
Luciya opting to pay the 2 to
Wait,
discard it, but
that
that
was
is
an
action, so
yeah, that will end Luciya's turn.
Hand.
Whoops. Spoilers, there might be an EX attack in your near future.
It is not Spike, though, on either side.
That is for sure. Alright, the header initiating. So the standard play here would be Wrenching Whip, but Luciya has to worry, but the header has to worry about Luciya's Downburst. Thank you for the follow, Silverbows. Focus into focus. What?
Glorious.
Oh, now that's
debate the Downburst.
Yeah, now that's a staring contest. Alright, Luciya initiating with the EX attack.
Hammering out that EX attack. Any feelings from you,
Dive.
Response?
Yep, it's dive.
EX dive.
That
other copy of focus, so Beheaded is out of all of his focuses, but that's not a terrible way to just kind of say no to the strike.
Hang on, that was 7 damage. Oh, it seems like
looks like they're getting it corrected.
Yeah. There it is.
And the other dive is engaged.
Yep.
There we go, it's corrected.
Alright.
Kind of an awkward range for, What?
Moving to the corner. This makes some amount of sense. It means Luciya can't cross up with something like Talon Sweep or Ride the Lightning.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That makes those cards pretty easy to punish, especially because before Ride Lightning was quite free.
Mm-hmm. So, what's better than a tornado, right?
Shut up.
A whirlwinds, obviously. Um, if Luciya decides to boost war, she has a couple boosts that are extremely effective at saying, no, we're done boost warring. She is one of the few 7th cross characters who can just come out on top, together with the Aquis and, I'm blanking. But she can put an abrupt end to a boost war with something like the Whirlwinds, where it's +3 speed, forcing the opponent to answer it, or letting her strike on her turn. Or with preemptive strike.
Speed boost?
No fear, no regrets. Looks like we have corrupted power. Mm-hmm.
Doubling down and getting some more cards in hand. Never really a bad option, although Assault Shield is also a very good card.
Mm-hmm. +1 power, +2 speed. +2 power, +1 speed is a pretty scary set of stats. Luciya is probably feeling pressured. Yep, backs up. It's range 5, where Beheaded has exactly 1 threat, which is the bow. What is the name of that card? Infantry bow. There we go.
Oh, just goes to 4 instead. I feel like this is probably better for Luciya than standing at 5, even though Beheaded has more threats here because of the existence of Firefly Gunner.
I 100% agree. Firefly Gunner is hugely threatening, and in particular, if Beheaded... There is one drawback. If Beheaded strikes with dive attack, there is essentially nothing Luciya can do about it except for trade with it, and trade not very well.
Ride the Lightning would stuff dive attack, but that is an expensive Ride the Lightning.
That's a very expensive Ride the Lightning.
And it's a mix-up situation.
Mm-hmm. It is, because Ride the Lightning loses handily to any defensive move, which Beheaded can play as bait. Ride the Lightning is one of Luciya's ultras. It is a 1/8, although it will usually deal 2 damage because of her character ability. In this case it won't, because it can't cross up. But before close 4...
strike. Let's see if he is baiting out the Ride the Lightning, or is going for the Firefly Gunner punish.
I feel like this is...
Glances at some of Luciya's cards and then pulls back the strike.
I don't think this is RTL bait. Now it might be.
For a different card now. Interesting.
Yep, should have shuffled that hands. You don't want to give your opponent information about whether or not you're using the same card. Alright.
Goes for the cross.
Oh, nice. I was feeling the dive here on Beheaded's side. I did not think he would attempt to punish, or the Ride the Lightning bait.
Somewhat ballsy to cross, considering one of the main threats there was dive attack.
Mm-hmm. Which cross would not answer. But yeah, Luciya gets a lot of value here. She crosses out of the speed 5 dive, sets up range 4 again, and Beheaded is out those boosts, where it is now Luciya's turn. Things are looking good for her.
Beheaded is very slowly running out of steam, but I think he can still pick this up if he starts building gauge.
He can. All he needs is 2 gauge, and we haven't seen a single block yet, as far as I recall. So at some point, he's going to exceed. Because Luciya does not have any ignore armor other than Spike, and we've already seen one of those drop. So do you think it's better to throw a chain trap if you have it, or... Oh! Well, I was going to say throw a chain trap or save Ride Lightning as an answer threat. But here we have a preemptive strike. This telegraphs either... Well, the telegraph is Manta Strike, right?
Yes, that is the card here that benefits the most from +2 speed, although I would say at this range there isn't much that really particularly benefits from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it means that Manta Strike is now safe against dive attack.
That is true.
Alright, Beheaded
and
responds.
You do get to play the Mimi Assault Spike mix-up.
Alright, so Beheaded will trade well here. Pull 2 first. Yeah, there you go. Then advance 4. Deals 5 damage, which they did not yet. There it is.
There we go, perfect.
And then takes 6 damage and loses a card. Alright, life totals are now a lot closer together. Luciya is out of skies, and oof, a copy of her own suite. Beheaded is at 1 gauge. This is actually a pretty heavy momentum turn in Beheaded's favor.
especially
Luciya.
sniping a sweep of Luciya's, because that is a card that is very good for just keeping on pressure when it comes to damage racing.
Mm-hmm. It's also great because of the boost, because the boost makes Talon Sweep essentially free.
Free.
Yeah. Like at range 1, Talon Sweep is under curve, but Light Boost makes it above curve, and it advances 4 as a hit effect, which means it just dodges everything in the planet. It does not dodge the Tiger Shot. But, you know, no one in this matchup has that card, so who cares?
It also loses to Paralyzing Dust.
This is true. Alright. Well, she's in a position to threaten Downburst, but she burned a lot of resources on that, and she's down 2 cards in hand, whereas Beheaded is sitting pretty comfortable with 1 gauge with full hands.
I think if I'm Beheaded here, I want to strike, and it's a question of if I want to be super cheeky or not.
I think I would continue boosting. Luciya only has so many boosts, and right now her hand is thin, so she's not really likely to have the right answers, and Beheaded's boost suite is pretty decent.
He does have a pretty solid boost suite. I just am in love with the idea of playing Spike here, because it covers a lot of things that Luciya would want to mash on defense.
That's true. Comically enough, Spike covers Downburst, because Downburst has pull 2 with a before and then after advance 2, meaning she would hit for a total of 3 damage and then jump back into range and get hit back.
It also covers Ride the Lightning in this board state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty comical, honestly. Alright, Luciya preps. Huh. Crossing up. Okay, once again, making it more difficult for Luciya to run away. Not sure going to range this close really benefits him. I think Luciya still has a cross, right? If not both.
I am not 100% sure. I've been keeping track of her cards.
I'm very sure that she has at least one. I think she might have both. So because of the transformation, which let me put up, on Manta Strike, she can spend 2 force to back up 1 space and then strike with a cross, and Beheaded will essentially have no way to answer that, because we know that he does not have EX Cross and he does not have EX Wind Daggers because he's boosted them. So she has a free way to escape if she decides to invest the resources.
It is an expensive investment, but it is ultimately probably worth it here to just get out of this situation and ease the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once she is at range, she can still answer Infantry Bow. Oh, wow.
For another preemptive.
Okay. That's the second spike gone.
Mashing out an answer in hand.
Yep.
I wonder what the read was that he, just block.
Oh, that's really funny. This is a really funny bug zapper, actually. So this is under curve. Still deciding to run with it. It has before, spin up to 4 force, for each 4 spin advance 2. So to be clear, this is a loop. So if you spin 4 force, you go advance 2, advance 2, advance 2, advance 2. Looks like she is spending all 4. 1, 2, 3. Wait, hold on. 4 means that she'll miss.
Calculating it out, he needs to spend 3 to hit.
Yes. Can still legally choose to spend 4.
Looks to have opted to spend the 4, which will mean the bug zapper does not hit.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Not sure that was the correct decision, but it was funny.
It was funny, and it did give her range 2, which normally not a good range of hers, but in this case, it gives her a little bit of space, which Beheaded chose to exceed. Whew.
Went for the survival, presumably to press the advantage. Luciya taking the exceed action, which is
looking for that reload.
A good hand refill, but Luciya's flip side burns out really hard, and with this amount of gauge, I'm not sure she'll ever really get started.
Oof, this is a scary time for Ninetales to come in. Plus you're on range, and his character ability giving him +1 power, +1 speed for the next strike because he exceeded. He has immense threats available to himself. So the canonical play here is Wrenching Whip.
Mashing out a strike, Wrenching Whip, or Assault. To cover the mix-up, but that is essentially a speed 6 Assault Spike mix-up that is pretty hard to answer because both sides are incredibly valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think the reload was reasonable, but I think that if Luciya was planning on exceeding for the reload, she should have tried to land that bug zapper to get the second transformation.
I would agree. That would have saved some gauge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She may be hoping to close things out. It is the wrenching whip and it is the block. All right. So this is only 4 power, but it's going to get a confirm for Beheaded and drag Luciya back into slightly closer range.
And Beheaded gains advantage, which is pretty good for him because he could do a tiny little combo into an exceed again to continue rolling his advantage, so to speak.
That's true. He can strike again and then have 2 gauge if this hits.
Dumps a downburst, which makes the assault to go into a play like that safer.
It does indeed. This is a very dangerous situation for Thunderbird. I will say dumbing downburst makes some sense because of that survival looming large, making all of the specials and ultras, well, particularly the specials, feel much more reliable. So downburst just does not do much damage.
Especially as Thunderbird, it doesn't even hit the breakpoint of 3.
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty inconvenient.
Luciya having trouble deciding what to play, that means the answer is probably to Wild Swing.
Mm-hmm. Could be trying to call the mix up and may have an answer in hand and is just trying to decide what to answer.
Luciya is pretty good at answering things if she so chooses.
Mm-hmm. That said, there's a decent spread of those answers left in deck as well. So she's already lost a hefty amount of momentum thanks to that. That sweep play essentially was the turning point where Beheaded finally gained some footing and is coming back through that to... oh, there we go. There's the Wild Swing.
Ups for the Wild Swing, gets... Ooh, that is not going to be valid. That'll be really bad.
Well, they could choose to validate it, and they choose not to. Alright. That's not too bad, honestly.
Misses, which is good for Talon Sweep and
yes,
Thunderbird, because that is only going to be 1 damage.
Yep. As good as Talon Sweep is and as good as that transformation is, if she had hits, she would have dealt, let's see, up to 2 damage, and then eaten a good 5 back, if I'm counting correctly. So in this case, she takes 1, which is fine.
Beheaded now sitting at 2 gauge again, which is exceptional for him.
Mm-hmm. Let's see it preps.
Beheaded just going for another flip, which with his hand size seems pretty good. Grabs tactics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tactics and survival together make for a very reliable suite. So this is... I'm trying to think if Thunderbird can come back from here.
It is very quickly slipping from her grasp.
I'll say this. Being aggressive with normals is the only chance that she would have, in my opinion. Because her specials and ultras are basically shaped like answers. They don't help her push a lot of damage out. And she needs to just try to trade up reliably until Beheaded can get Brutality in play and then just kill her. So if she had kept that sweep, things would be looking a bit better, but, you know, it got discarded at random, so unfortunate. She might need to reshuffle or just start boosting power, but I think strong normals play is the only option that will help Thunderbird take back this game.
I would probably agree. Luciya checking over Beheaded's discards, maybe thinking about going for a reading or something. That would help to grab back some momentum forcefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you were Thunderbird in this situation, what would you do?
I would take the reshuffle action. I've got some valuable cards down, and importantly, I've only got 5 cards left in deck. Hand information at this point would feel like a death blow, because if Beheaded knows what all of my available options are, he'll just kill me. Like,
completely agree. Beheaded, along with a lot of characters in his shape, the all-rounders with solid questions, they tend to get especially scary as decks get low, because the more things get shaped like specific normals, the harder it is to answer them. Luciya going for a strike. Interesting.
Beheaded answering confidently with twin daggers. Whew. Okay, well, this is not the worst. Looks like he was just trying to defend on curve. So that is a 4 power twin daggers over 2 armor will deal 3 damage.
It appears that Thunderbird forgot that it was not the turn after a strike. The twin dagger seems pretty respectable here. 7 speed, 1 to 3.
Hang on, I think they forgot the +1.
I don't remember. Beheaded sitting pretty good here with 1 gauge after that strike.
Okay, yeah, pretty sure she was at 21.
I believe so. Beheaded going for the prep. With survival and tactics, that feels pretty okay. Beheaded's economy is not amazing, and if he can get another block or something on his turn, if Thunderbird initiates into him, that's 2 gauge, he'll be able to exceed. Going for the reshuffle action this turn. Not too bad.
Uh-oh, we have an EX attack.
Mashing out an EX, that is very scary, even though it is probably not calculable, but probably pretty close. Possibly calculable, I'm not exactly sure.
Strange. So, okay, I don't know why. This feels like Wave of Denial, but I don't think Wave of Denial is actually good here.
Oh, it would be terrible here.
So what does that leave? He's used a decent number of options. I'm not sure we've seen an Assault drop.
That'd be kind of a ballsy play, but I would like it. Dive attack, maybe? No, he boosted a tornado earlier.
No, you're right, he boosted a tornado. Let's see. What have we not seen?
Goes for the wild swing. Oh, it's just grasp.
Oh, it's just grasp. Okay, so 4 for 5.
Kind of a lot of momentum given up there, but loses the wrenching whip.
Okay. Good for Luciya. Gets him a 2nd gauge, which I guess he was just trying to guarantee it against the possibility of a defensive Ride Lightning. Alright, I did confirm that Luciya's life was 21. So, dropping to 19 after the Twin Daggers was correct.
Alright, good.
Right, because 4 power, 2 armor, 2 damage, 21, 19. Yep, cool. I also noticed, looking at that replay, that for some reason in the text box on screen, Luciya's name is really small. Let me try to fix that. Light from Thunderbird at range 3 with that reshuffle means she's threatening Spike Dive Assault. This is actually really good. If Beheaded is not prepared to contest that boost, his deck is also running thin on options. Moving to range 1, where quote-unquote speed doesn't matter. That's actually extremely dangerous. She can use her transformation to spend 2 gauge as force to move 1 and strike, giving her a +2 power, +2 speed strike.
Oh, did you just disconnect?
I guess so.
Oh, and Luxuria did too. I am still here. I wonder what's going on.
That is strange. So
Thunderbird boosted backstep and retreated to range 4.
Okay, yeah, I definitely disconnected. Alright, I'll be back in when I can. You might want to warn the host to make a save of the game real quick, just in case, like, TTS crashes.
I asked him to do that. Luxuria actually came back.
Okay, well then I'll try and get back in. Given recent events, it wouldn't surprise me if it's just Steam having trouble coping with the traffic.
That could be it. So range 4 with +2 speed in play.
This is indeed game 2, to answer folks in chat. Game 1 was Taisei Vega. Ended in Vega's favor. That's Petersonian's Vega over Luxuria's Taisei.
Beheaded just going for the Exceed. Slightly evening up things on speed and going for brutality, getting that last trait.
Whew, that is a fully leveled up, decked out Beheaded. But Luciya is at a tactical advantage, even if not a strategic one. So she may be able to take care of this.
Hitting with sweep was pretty good, but unfortunately there is no more sweeps to hit with for Luciya. Chain trap, how rude.
It is a very rude boost. Alright, so this telegraphs the Firefly Gunner, actually. The traditional setup with Luciya is Chain Trap into Firefly Gunner, because if the opponent cannot move in that range 3 to 4, it's literally free. Like, there's nothing the opponent can do about it.
Interesting.
Whoa. Alright, gonna leave that in play, meaning Beheaded is just likely to take a bunch of damage. He might well have a block in hand, but if Luciya decides to step forward to range 3, she threatens the Spike Firefly Gunner mix-up. Alright, not electing to use her transformation for extra damage. Probably just gonna see a block on his side. Yeah, there it is. Alright, so 6 power Firefly Gunner.
That's, that's fine. Beheaded can block this and play, like, some dumb cards that are, like, pretty much unbeatable now.
Yeah, I think this is definitely good for Beheaded.
Dumps a phaser to block all the damage. That seems fine.
And it is now his turn at range 4.
Notably, I don't think we've seen the other phaser drop yet, so he could boost range. That seems pretty good.
Correct.
He could have went for the other phaser, which would be pretty telegraphed, but it's phaser. What are they gonna do?
Not much. Although both of his grasps has dropped, and at least one twin daggers.
He boosted Wolf Trap earlier, I believe, so both daggers are actually down. So phaser actually isn't too high value in this situation.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of follow-up for it. So plus 3 range taking advantage, telegraphs an upcoming assault, probably. Now it's important to note that his normals don't gain the benefit of his traits, which means that tactics and survival, which are very, very important against Luciya, do not apply to normals. So the threat may appear larger than it actually is, although it's still pretty significant.
I believe no, one of them was boosted, one of them was played. What does he have left? He's running thin on options. It appears that
I think we
Luciya might be taking advantage of that.
I think we still have not seen any waves of denial, so if Beheaded can step forward just a little bit, Assault Wave would actually be pretty scary here.
That it would.
Both Wrenching Whips are down, both Infantry Bows are down, both Twin Daggers are down. He could assault shield, I guess? No, he boosted one, played one. Wow, yeah, there's not a lot left. I think he's basically reduced, as far as his main threats go, he's reduced to normals and ultras.
Yeah, he definitely needs to establish range 3 then to have a real scary mix-up.
I would agree. Actually, I think he should go to range 2. At range 3, there is still one remaining Firefly Gunner, if I recall.
That is true, yes.
And you don't want to just kind of, oops, give Luciya the strike. Although it would be pretty funny.
It would be very quality, but also quite bad.
Yes. Yeah. So things are looking very, very good for Beheaded. It is important to note that Luciya is definitely not out of this game. Beheaded down at 10 life means that Thunderbird in particular can get a huge power surge almost whenever she wants and try to close things very aggressively. And if Beheaded is careless, he can just eat that damage and fall over dead.
With only Storm's Fury in play, things are a little awkward for Luciya, but I believe she still has a preemptive at least to set up a pretty nasty spike play.
Mm-hmm. Preemptive move 1. So preemptive Storm's Fury spike would be speed 5, power 8. Oh, a little bit premature. We have a reading. Wait, what?
Don't do this, please.
Okay. Oh, so Luciya played reading, named sweep. Opponent prematurely revealed, which is a huge mistake. Luciya had not yet resolved setting her attack. So this is a massive misplay by the Beheaded player, and it, yeah, it's pretty costly. So that is going to be a +5 power. Whoa. 9 power? Yeah, 9 power.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gives her advantage and lets her move to any space. Alright, so, which, you know, Beheaded is very, very stunned. So she moves to range 1. So as I said, Luciya can just randomly dump a ton of damage in the board, and if something went wrong, and in this case what went wrong was Beheaded let his deck get too thin, leaving his remaining options easy to predict. So, she now just needs to deal 1 damage, and he's out of grasps. So if she has a grasp, she probably wins the game. Or an EX Talon Sweep or an EX Grasp. Or, yeah, there's the EX Talon Sweep. Alright, so she will win that speed tie and clobber him for lethal. GG.
If only he had EX Wave of Denial.
I'm surprised he didn't, actually. I thought there was one left. Oh, there it was. And the opponent was mentioning that they were looking for it, I bet, based on how they pulled that out. Oh...
Remember,
Regrets.
folks, CC.
Yep, and reshuffle. Great game though, great set. That was pretty spectacular.
That it was.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, Petersonian. I believed in you.
Yep, and well played, Luxuria. Be a little bit more careful when your opponent plays reading. Wait for them to finish setting their attack. But other than that, very good play. Let's see. All right. Well, that concludes the set. Thank you very much for joining me for this cast, Blue. Thank you everyone for watching.
Of course.
Yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. This is Exceed Fighting System. This is Matchup Madness, largest Exceed tournament of all time so far, organized by Taisei via the Level 99 Organized Play Discord server. If you are interested in Exceed and learning more, check out our Discord server. And if you'd like to try the game and you have Tabletop Simulator, you can play it for free. This module is XFS Balanced Breakfast, which I personally maintain for competitive players. There's a few others floating around here, but most of the community on the Discord server uses this one because it is full featured and has all seasons 1 through 4. Let's see, leave anything out? I don't think so. Alright, well, till next time, have a good one, y'all, and see you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.